You ever do everything right in your garden? You get the best fertilizer, you water perfectly, and your plants just refuse to grow? It is so frustrating. Well, if that's you, you're in the right place. We're about to dig into a 2,000-year-old secret that might just change everything. I mean, you follow the instructions on that bag down to the letter. You water like you're supposed to, but your plants still look kind of weak, maybe a little yellow, just sad. It's a super common problem. But what if the issue isn't about how much stuff you're adding, but about what kind of stuff it is? That's right. The real key to a vibrant, thriving garden might literally be in your kitchen trash can right now. We're about to unlock a powerful, ancient technique that, honestly, modern industry kind of helped us all forget. So let's get into it. We're going to look at two incredible all-natural formulas. First, there's fermented rice water, which is kind of like a probiotic shot for your soil. And second, fish amino acid, which is like a super fast energy drink for your plants. And no, these aren't some new age fads. This is ancient tech that's been proven for centuries. Okay, so think about fermented rice water like this. It's not just plant food, it's a soil activator. When you let that rice water ferment, you're basically breeding an army of good bacteria, like Lactobacillus. So you're not just feeding the plant, you're kickstarting the entire living ecosystem under the ground. And then you've got fish amino acid, or FAA. Now this stuff is pure plant fuel. See, the fermentation process breaks down all the complex proteins in fish into super simple amino acids. It's organic nitrogen that's basically pre-digested. It's like a ready-to-eat meal your plants can use immediately. And listen, this isn't just some old folk wisdom. This is systematic agriculture. We've got records of this stuff being used in 17th century Japan. By the 1960s, these methods were actually standardized into what's known as Korean natural farming. It was really only in the last 40 years or so, with the boom of the chemical industry, that all this knowledge just started to fade away. Okay, so this all sounds really good, right? But I know what you're thinking. How does this homemade stuff really stack up against the high-tech chemical fertilizers we buy at the store? Well, let's put them to the test and look at the actual science. So here's the fundamental difference. Chemical nitrogen, like urea, is basically an inorganic salt. The soil has to work really hard to convert it into something a plant can use. And over time, those salts can actually kill off the good microbes in your soil. FAA, on the other hand, is pre-digested. The plant absorbs it directly, and it actually feeds all that good soil life. And the results? They totally speak for themselves. A 2019 study in Indonesia put urea and FAA head-to-head. And get this, after just 4 weeks, the plants fed with FAA were 18% taller and a whopping 23% heavier than the ones getting standard chemical fertilizer. And the best part? It cost pretty much nothing to make. Now look, the point here isn't to demonize all modern products. It's really about empowerment. It's about knowing that you have an incredibly powerful, effective, and practically free alternative that you can literally make from scraps you'd normally just throw away. So if these natural methods are so great, why on earth did we stop using them? Well, as always, it helps to follow the money. In 2023, just in Vietnam alone, the fertilizer market was worth $4.2 billion. That is a massive industry. And really, the logic is simple. An industry that huge has massive marketing budgets and armies of salespeople. But there's just no profit to be made from a bucket of fermented rice water. You can't really sell what people can make for free. So it doesn't get promoted. And just like that, within a single generation, this priceless knowledge was nearly lost. All right, enough of the history and science. Let's get our hands dirty. I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can make both of these formulas at home starting today. And trust me, it is way simpler than you think. Okay, first step, fermented rice water. When you wash rice, just save the water from the second or third rinse. Pour that cloudy water into any container. You can add a spoonful of sugar to give the microbes a little boost. Then just cover it loosely, and that's important, don't seal it tight, and stick it in a dark corner for 3 to 5 days. You'll know it's ready when it has a slightly sour, kind of sweet smell, almost like yogurt. Now, to use it, you absolutely have to dilute it. A good rule of thumb is 1 part of the fermented water to about 10 or even 20 parts of clean water. Just water your plants with this mix once or twice a week. That's it. The total cost? 0. Zilch! All right, next up is the heavy hitter, FAA. You take any fish scraps, yep, heads, bones, the whole shebang, and mix them with an equal amount of brown sugar by weight. That 1-to-1 ratio is key. The sugar pulls out all the liquid and kicks off the fermentation. Put it in a container, cover it loosely, and just let it sit for 3 or 4 weeks. Then you just strain out the solids And that dark liquid you're left with? That's pure garden gold. Now listen up because this is important. FAA is super concentrated. A little goes a very long way. You have to dilute it like crazy. We're talking 1 part FAA to at least 500, maybe even 1,000 parts water. That's just a tiny bit per liter. Use it every week or two. You can even spray it on the leaves for shockingly fast results. Seriously, you can sometimes see a difference in 24 hours. And sure, you're going to save some money doing this, which is great. But the biggest, most important benefit here isn't what stays in your wallet. It's what you're building in your soil. So check this out. In a side-by-side experiment, the cost for the natural plot was less than half the chemical one, and the amount of food they grew, about the same. But here's the real story. The chemical plot soil had a hard crust on top. The natural plot, it was teeming with earthworms. The soil was dark, loose, it was alive. And that, right there, is the biggest takeaway. When you use these methods, you're not just giving a plant a quick chemical fix. You're feeding the bacteria, you're feeding the fungi, you're feeding the worms. You are rebuilding the entire web of life that creates real, long-lasting fertility. You know, for the last 40 years or so, we've been taught that real plant food only comes in an expensive bag from a store. We just forgot a fundamental truth. Nature already perfected this system billions of years ago. All we have to do is learn how to work with it again. So I want to hear from you. What are you growing right now? It doesn't matter if it's a huge vegetable patch or just a few herbs on your windowsill. Drop a comment below and let us know what plant you're going to try this on first. Let's get started and watch our gardens truly come back to life.